In today's review video, we direct our attention towards the novel Look to Windward, which constitutes the 7th addition to Iain M.'s acclaimed culture series. Look to Windward spans 483 pages and was originally published in the year 2000, marking the third installment of the middle segment of the culture series, which was published from 1996 to the year 2000, along with the previously discussed novels Accession and Inversions. In terms of its scientific soundness and overall score on the sci-fi Mohs scale, Look to Windward brings us back to the solidly soft part of this scale, since we are once more experiencing the plot directly within the wider culture and all its technological and scientific marvels. Furthermore, the world-building and scale of the literary universe is expanded with the introduction of new locations and civilizations. Nonetheless, Look to Windward does not exceed what we are used to in this regard from most of the other culture novels. In terms of original ideas and unique perspectives into the culture universe, we, as the readers, are once more indulged by Iain M, even though, as a caveat, it has to be mentioned that some of the themes and topics were already addressed by previous novels. With half a dozen main characters, the dramatis personae of Look to Windward is on the lower end of the absolute scale, but it certainly scores similarly to previous entries to the series, such as the play of games, use of weapons, and inversions. In terms of critical reception, Look to Windward was nominated for 3 awards, thus replicating the success rate of its predecessor Inversions. In particular, Look to Windward was nominated for the Locus Award for Best Science Fiction Novel in the year 2001, for the Kurd-Laßwitz-Preis für Bestes ausländisches Werk or Best Foreign Work in the year 2004, and for the Täti Valteja Award in the year 2005. The latter 2 nominations related to the German and Finnish translations of the novel. In contrast to the aforementioned limited amount of critical accolades, Look to Windward's popular reception is among the highest of the various books that constitute the culture series, as evidenced by a combined score of 4.3 out of 5 stars, based on thousands of Goodreads, LibraryThing and Amazon reviews. Currently, there are no indications for an adaptation of Look to Windward for the big screen, television, or any of the streaming services. Look to Windward is one of the culture novels that exhibits a more significant amount of references and connections to other entries of the series. It functions as a very loose continuation of Consider Phlebas, the first novel of the series. This is not only related to the plot, which we will discuss in due course, but this fact is also reflected in the titles of the 2 novels, which are both based on a line in T.S. Eliot's poem The Wasteland, which reads, "Phlebas the Phoenician, a fortnight dead, forgot the cry of gulls and the deep sea swell, and the profit and loss. A current under sea picked his bones and whispers, as he rose and fell, he passed the stages of his age and youth, entering the whirlpool. Gentile or Jew, O you turn the wheel and look to windward, consider Phlebas, who was once handsome and tall as you." Regarding the overall culture timeline, Look to Windward can solidly be placed in the late 22nd century AD, or roughly 800 years after the events of Consider Phlebas. The plot of Look to Windward deals with the ramifications of the devastating Twin Nova battle which occurred during the Idiran Culture War. As the name implies, 2 suns were induced to explode, destroying entire worlds and their inhabitants. Now, 800 years later, the light from the first explosion is about to reach Masak Orbital, where the culture's inhabitants are gathered to reflect on this tragedy and their own potential complicity in it. At the same time, Major Quillan, an emissary from the war-torn world of Chell, is also journeying to Masak Orbital, with the task of bringing home the brilliant composer and political dissident named Zilla. However, Zilla suspects that Major Quelan has come to kill him, and a conspiracy unfolds as Quelan's true mission has been buried so deeply in his mind that even he himself cannot remember it. The consequences of his mission are far greater than just the death of a political dissident. This plot summary also highlights the thematic connection between Consider Phlebas and Look to Windward, which we already discussed previously in brief. As such, Look to Windward has been suggested by some, among them SFX magazine, as a possible entry novel to the entire Culture series. There is certainly nothing that would speak against it from a plot perspective, and I personally would argue that the character's story and themes in Look to Windward are more compelling than in Consider Phlebas, which are important points to increase reader retention and increase their investments in the series. After all, it is best to convince people with a strong opening. Overall, Look to Windward is one of the top entries to Iain M. Banks' Culture series. It is well written, captivating, sports interesting characters, and explores themes that are worth to think about long after one has finished the novel. One minor criticism of the novel is the fact that some of these topics have already been discussed in previous books. For instance, the existence of different factions within the Culture who sometimes try to clandestinely advance their agenda, or that under its veneer of progressive enlightenment, the Culture, or at least some of its factions, will ruthlessly pursue their goals, even if this means to employ morally questionable tactics, or even acts of gratuitously gruesome retribution, are points that were already made in accession. Furthermore, the exploration of personal and societal trauma caused by violence and war were also prominently featured in Consider Phlebas and Use of Weapons. Nonetheless, Look to Windward is a solid choice if you are interested in entertaining soft science fiction that also offers plenty of stuff to think about. And as mentioned previously, Look to Windward is also a good entry point to the wider Culture series. If you liked this video, you may also enjoy the other reviews and content on my channel. Feel free to leave a comment if you want to discuss the novels or if you want to suggest other books that I should review in the future. Please consider upvoting and subscribing, it is much appreciated. Thank you for watching, and until next time.